Hello students, let us start the third part of the chapter, that is the nationalist movement in Indo-China. Here let us see the vision of the modernizations in Vietnam, where some intellectuals felt that Vietnamese tradition had to be strengthened to resist the domination of the Western world. On other hand, there are some who felt that Vietnam had to learn from the West even while opposing the foreign domination. And here as you can see here, this person Phan Boi Chao, he is educated in the Confucian tradition. Phan Boi Chao was a nationalist, and he became a major figure of the anti-colonial resistance in Vietnam. He formed the revolutionary societies, also known as the Due Tan Hoi, in the year 1903 in Vietnam. And later on, what he done is that he, with Prince Chung Di, the Prince Chung Di become the head of this revolutionary societies. And I was saying that later on he met the Chinese reformer, and his name was Liang Qiuqiu in Yokohama in the year 1905. He also wrote his famous book, The History of the Lost of the Vietnam, which was strongly influenced and advised of Qiuqiu, to whom he met in China. This book was connected into two themes. The first is the sovereignty of Vietnam, and the second one is the severing of ties with China. We also see a role of this second person, that is the Phan Chu Trinh, in the years 1871 to 1826, while in some book it is written 1872 also. Now, he was intensely hostile to the monarchy and opposed the idea of resisting the French with the help of the court, and he desired to establish a democratic republic in Vietnam. Profoundly influenced by the democratic ideas of the West, he did not want a wholesale rejection of the Western civilization. He wants a modernization of Vietnam, and that could be happen only if the education would be given in French, and if we adopt the French culture. He accepted the French revolutionary ideas of liberty, and he also demanded for the setup of legal and educational institute in Vietnam, and also for the development of the agriculture and industries in Vietnam. We also see the ways of becoming modern through Japan and China, which are the closest, which are nearer country of Vietnam with the same culture of Asian culture. The first movement we see is of the Go East movement. Obviously, the Vietnamese wants to throw out the Frenches, and for that, during the first decade of the 20th century, that means in the year 1907 and 8, approximately 300 Vietnamese went to Japan to take education from Japan. They want to overthrow the puppet emperor and re-establish the Nguyen dynasty in Vietnam. And they were also obviously looked for the foreign arms and foreign help for Vietnam. And this is how what we see, that they wanted to establish a strong military in Vietnam with the help of Japan. They were too much inspired by Japan, who in the year 1907 defeated Russia, which is much more bigger than Japan. Vietnamese students established the Restoration Society in Tokyo. This is how, but the Japanese Minister of Interior clamped down on them, and many of the nationalists including Fan Boi Chao were deported and forced to seek exile in China and in the Thailand. The next one is the Chinese Revolution of sources of inspiration. As the Vietnam nationalists were also inspired by the revolutionary movement which were occurred in China in the year 1911 when the monarchy was overthrown in China. By taking the inspiration, especially a movement under the Sun Yat-sen, a republic was set up in China. The Vietnamese nationalists also set up an association for the restorations of Vietnam known as the Vietnam Con Phuc Hao. So this is how we complete the third part of the chapter. Any kind of problem and doubt, you can visit to my blog also, or whatever you want, you can send your comment, demands, etc. to our website idonetworking.com. That's all in this part. Thank you.